Got the winter blues? Me too. Welcome back to the channel. Shit, that didn't even light. In the last video you saw, other than live stream, where I divulged some personal information and we can talk about that later, I was telling you about how I wanted a wide body Challenger. And today I'm gonna tell you why I probably don't want that car anymore, and it's not because of how it drives. Today, we're talking about crash tests. Pretty much every review you see on YouTube is just gonna talk about handling, appearances, and whether a car makes you feel like a man, and does it give you that emotion that makes you feel like you were really driving a car yourself? Or is it too sanitized like a Nissan GT-R? But what they don't ever really talk about is crash safety. And when you're looking at buying a car, that is something that you should absolutely take into account. Now, a lot of you are gonna say things like, well, you only live once and I'm gonna drive like a man and I don't care what happens to me because I'm gonna go out doing what I love. But you know what? Doing what you love is not getting T-boned by a soccer mom on her cell phone while you're sitting at an unprotected left. Nobody wants to die that way. So, let's just talk about what it is to drive every day. Go cage your race car. We can get into that another day. But today we're just talking about daily drivers and sports cars that we actually like to flog on the street. Not that we would ever flog anything on the street. So as I was researching the Challenger widebody, I thought, you know what, let's see how these big muscle cars crash, because I figured, well, it's a big 4,500 pound car, it probably does pretty damn well. Now, that may be true if it's doing it against, say, a smart car or a Yaris or a Corolla, but it does not do so hot in the small overlap test. And the small overlap test is pretty important because the Challenger is really wide, which means that if you're gonna get in that crash, it probably is just gonna take a piece of that front end. It's 79.2 inches wide. For context, think of 1 inch, 79.2 times. Instead of crashing face first, we actually just take on this little bit here, but really that's like an Aventador. So it's probably gonna be the way you're gonna go out in this car if you're gonna crash it hard, unless you roll it through some trees, and we're gonna get to roof strength in a minute. There's two crash test systems in the US that we really look at. It's the NHTSA and the IIHS. NHTSA is kind of like the ACTs. You take them, you pass them, nobody really knows what the score is, it's not that impressive. You get some stars and they put a sticker on your hat and, you know, congratulations, you get to move forward. The IIHS is really where it's at. That's where you get a lot more comprehensive detail on the crash test, whether it's small overlap, side impact, roof strength, stuff like that. So typically if I'm researching a car, I want to look at the IIHS. Not all cars are going to be tested by them because not all cars have enough volume to warrant those tests. So if you're looking for like C7 crash data, you're not going to find it, but you can always use the third resource, which is Google image searching rolled Corvette. And then you'll find out that you probably shouldn't buy a Corvette. Okay, so back to the Challenger. When the IIHS tested the Challenger, which is a really cheap car, they go all the way up to like $100,000 when you're talking about demons and stuff, but you got to remember the architecture of this car is essentially the same throughout. So we're just talking about a Challenger. When that was in the small overlap test, they actually had to unscrew, which would have meant amputate, the leg of the dummy to remove the foot from the passenger compartment, because when it actually impacted that small overlap barrier, it pushed the front wheel straight through the cabin. That's not good. That's not what you want to see. So like a good car, if you want to go look at like a Honda Civic, does pretty well in this. Mercedes, BMWs tend to do pretty well also, because those European and Japanese companies also tend to take into account more global standards, but a lot of them do more than they have to. For example, BMW's been roll testing cars for like 15 years, and they didn't have to do that back then, but they did. So it's always nice to know when you've got like a seam welded chassis that it's gonna provide a little more of a cage effect rather than just some crumpling metal that's gonna need the jaws of life to get your ass out. For context, go take a look at like a rollover Volkswagen GTI, a rollover Type R, and go check out the Challenger and the Charger. Tell me which car you'd rather be in. However, crash tests can be somewhat misleading because when we crash cars into barriers, we're crashing them against themselves, basically. We're taking a 2,900 pound car and pushing it into a wall, or a 4,500 pound car and pushing it into a wall. So obviously, if you had a 5-star crash rating on your Yaris, that doesn't mean it's gonna hold up against the 3-star crash rating of like an old Dodge 1500 pickup. I'd rather be in the pickup if I'm crashing against that. So you've got to also take into account like momentum is a thing. So if you need to get some physics lessons, go check it out somewhere else. I'm not going to teach you that. But I'm not here to tell you what to buy. What I am telling you is to use all of your resources, because it's not all just about sound, performance, appearances, paint colors. Like, you should want to live. And getting in a car accident and dying in 2019 is a pretty stupid way to go out. So, you know, choose wisely and drive safe. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you so much to all of my Patreon subscribers. Go ahead and check out the link and some merch down there, as well as if you need a sticker, go ahead, DM me on Instagram. We'll hook it up. Don't forget to respect the drive.